Hey, you doing okay today? Whether it's a bright or heavy day, let this story be a warm pause for you, a place where soap isn't just for washing hands, but can spark a cold war between spouses. If you're feeling worn out, settle in. This tale's a gentle hug with hints of grapefruit and cedarwood, and who knows, you might chuckle, spotting a bit of yourself in it. Hey, listener, you're about to dip into a story where a tiny bottle of soap stirs up more than bubbles in a quiet marriage. I'm Tom, 32, a high school math teacher, living with my wife, Erin, 31, a freelance illustrator, in a cozy apartment in Burlington, Vermont. Our life simple: books, hikes, coffee on the porch. But when Erin brought home a fancy soap and declared it for guests only, a small spark of tension lit up our peaceful home. What seemed like a quirky choice hinted at deeper divides, and I was about to learn how much a bottle could say. Erin and I have been married 5 years, together since our late 20s. Our apartment's a gemwood floors, big windows, a view of Lake Champlain. We're not rich, but we're content, splitting bills and chores like a well-oiled team. Erin's the dreamer, always chasing beauty in small things: wood flowers, vintage mugs. I'm practical, happy with routine, though her spark keeps me grounded. We don't fight much. Our disagreements are soft, like who forgot to buy milk. So, when Erin came home with the soap, I didn't expect it to rattle me. She'd been to an artisanal shop in a nearby historic town, the kind with cobblestone streets and overpriced candles. "Look at this," she said, eyes bright, unwrapping a small frosted glass bottle tied with twine. The label read pine wood and amp, citrus, and it smelled like a forest after rain, with a hint of regret probably from the $18 price tag. "It's perfect," Erin declared, setting it on the bathroom sink. "But it's for guests only." "Okay." Her tone was firm, almost ceremonial, like she'd anointed it sacred. I raised an eyebrow, half smiling. "Guests? We barely have any." It was true. Her place saw maybe 3 visitors a year: her sister, my buddy Dave, and once, a neighbor borrowing sugar. Erin shrugged, adjusting the bottle. So. "Doesn't matter. It's for when we do. I want them to feel special." I nodded, respecting her whim, though it felt odd. Our sink already had soap, a $3 pump bottle of generic lavender, its nozzle creaking with every push. I'd been using it for years. No complaints. Why was this new one off limits? The guest soap sat there, untouched, a tiny monument to Erin's aesthetic. I stuck to my old bottle, its plastic faded, the pump wheezing like it was on life support. Every time I washed my hands, I'd glance at the fancy soap, its twine mocking me. Why was it so precious? Erin's rule wasn't about money. $18 wouldn't break you, but about something deeper. A line she'd drawn, I didn't understand. Our home was ours, shared. Yet this soap felt like her territory, a piece of her I wasn't allowed to touch. I tried joking about it one night, drying dishes while Erin sketched. "So, when's this VIP guest coming for the holy soap?" She laughed, but it was tight. "It's not a big deal, Tom. I just want nice things sometimes." Her words carried an edge, like I'd missed a bigger point. I let it go, not wanting to poke the bear, but the soap started to symbolize more than itself. Erin's nice things were piling up: hand-thrown mugs, linen napkins, while I made do with chipped plates and my creaky soap pump. Was I being petty? Or was she pulling away, curating a life I didn't quite fit into? The tension wasn't loud, but it was there. I'd catch Erin rearranging the bathroom, ensuring the guest soap stayed front and center, like a shrine. Meanwhile, my bottle got shoved to the side, half hidden by a towel. It felt personal, like she was prioritizing some imagined future guest over me, the guy washing dishes every night. I didn't need fancy soap, but I wanted to feel like our home was equally ours, not a gallery for her vision. At 32, I thought we'd built a partnership, but this small act, the rule, her soap, made me question where I stood. I hadn't confronted her yet, unsure if I was overreacting. Erin's joy in her find, her care for nice things, was part of why I loved her. But the guest soap, unused and untouchable, was starting to feel like a metaphor for something unspeaking, a gap in our marriage I couldn't name. Our quiet Vermont life, once a haven, was showing cracks, and I wondered what else Aaron was holding back, reserving for someone who wasn't me. Listener, Tom's cozy marriage is wobbling over a bottle of soap, and Aaron's rule hints at bigger divides. Is this just a quirky spat? Or a sign of deeper disconnect? Stay with Metha's stories about to dig into what happens when small choices reveal big truths. Tom and Aaron's quiet Vermont apartment was starting to feel like a battleground over $18 bottle of artisanal soap. At 32, Tom, a math teacher, respected his wife Erin's rule that her frosted glass pine wood and amp citrus soap was for guests only, despite their rare visitors. Meanwhile, he made do with a creaky $3 pump bottle, the guest soap a symbol of Erin's growing fixation on nice things that seemed to exclude him. Their once harmonious marriage, built on shared chores and cozy nights, was fraying, and a single act of defiance was about to ignite a silent war of sense and stubbornness. It started innocently enough. One hectic morning, Tom was rushing to grade papers before school, hands sticky from a peanut butter sandwich he'd made for lunch. He reached for his trusty lavender soap only to find it bone dry, not a drop left. The sink was a mess, dishes piled from last night, and his hands were a crime scene. Glancing at Erin's sacred guest soap, gleaming on the counter, he hesitated. It's just one pump, he muttered, justifying it to himself. He pressed the nozzle, releasing a luxurious dollop that smelled like a forest stream. He washed, savoring the scent, and felt a tiny thrill of rebellion. No guests were coming, we let it sit unused. Erin walked in just as he rinsed, her eyes locked on the bottle, then his wet hands, her face flushing like she'd caught him stealing. Tom, she snapped, voice sharp, that's for guests. You're wasting something special? Tom froze, the accusation landing like a slap. Wasting? Aaron, it's soap. I was out, and we haven't had a guest in months. Her jaw tightened, eyes blazing. It's not just soap, it's about creating a vibe, making our home feel thoughtful. You don't get it. The words stung, her tone implying he was some slob trampling her vision. I get it, he shot back, but it's our home, not a museum. Why is your soap sacred and mine's trash? The argument fizzled. They were due at work, but the tension lingered. Tom stewed all day, Erin's you don't get it echoing. He wasn't against nice things, he loved her flair, but her obsession with curating their home mugs, linens. Now soap felt like she was building a life he wasn't part of. His creaky pump bottle, shoved aside, was him, practical, ignored, while her guest soap got pride of place. At 32, he thought their marriage was equal, but this felt like her claiming territory, leaving him on the sidelines. He wasn't just annoyed about Soph was hurt, and he wanted her to feel it. The next day, Tom fought back in his own way. On his lunch break, he browsed a high-end online shop and splurged on a $30 bottle of soap, Grey Pruitt and cedarwood. Described as what a lumberjack smells like after therapy, it arrived 2 days later, sleek and heavy, its amber liquid glowing like a craft cocktail. That evening, he set it on the sink's opposite corner, far from Erin's bottle, and announced, "This is my soap, only I use it." He mimicked her solemn tone, half joking, half daring her to react. Erin stared, then smirked, a glint in her eye. "Cute," she said, voice dripping with challenge. "We'll see who wins this." The soap war was on. Aaron didn't touch his bottle, but the next day, Tom caught her scrolling Etsy, muttering about handcrafted bergamot blends. She was doubling down, hunting a new soap to outshine his. The sink, once a shared space, became a divided kingdom, her frosted glass versus his amber fortress, each untouched by the other. They still cooked together, laughed at shows, but an undercurrent ran through it all. Every hand wash was a statement, Tom using his cedarwood defiantly, Erin lathering with her pine like it was a ritual. The bathroom smelled like a boutique, but the air was thick with unspoken resentment. Tom felt torn. Part of him loved the petty victory, his soap was fancier, a middle finger to her rules. But the bigger part ached. Why was Erin so fixated on appearances, on guests who never came? Was she pulling away, crafting a life that didn't include him? He missed their old ease, when a $3 soap was enough for both. At 32, he didn't want a marriage of one-upmanship, but he couldn't back down without losing ground. Erin's smirk, her Etsy hunt, showed she was in it too, their love tangled in a ridiculous feud over bubbles. The soap set, symbols of a rift neither would name. Tom wondered if this was about more than hygiene. Was Erin unhappy, or was he reading too much into a bottle? Their Vermont haven was still theirs, but the warmth was cooling, and a $30 soap wasn't fixing it. Listener, Tom's rebellion has sparked a scented standoff, and the soaps are just the surface. Can they bridge this divide? Or is their marriage cracking? Stay with Metha stories about to face the truth behind their fragrant fight. Tom and Erin's Vermont apartment had turned into a scented battlefield, their marriage strained by a ridiculous soap war. At 32, Tom, a math teacher, and Erin, 31, an illustrator, had let $18 guest-only artisanal soap spark a feud. Tom's defiant use of it led to his own $30 grapefruit tan cedarwood soap, declared his alone, while Erin's smirks and Etsy hunts fueled the tension. Their sink, split by rival bottles, mirrored a deeper rift in their once cozy life. As the standoff escalated, a moment of absurdity would finally force them to face the truth behind their fragrant fight. The battle lines were drawn on the bathroom sink, Erin's Pine and Citrus Holy Soap on the left, Tom's Cedarwood Lumberjack Therapy on the right. Neither touched the others, each pump a silent jab. Erin upped the ante, ordering a $35 soap from Italiamber liquid in a bottle sealed with wax, like a Renaissance love letter. For guess, she said, smirking, placing it beside her first. Tom, refusing to lose, countered with a $40 Japanese soap. Bamboo cased, billed as a mountain spring on Fuji. He set it down. Deadpan. Mine. Smells like enlightenment. Their sink looked like a boutique, but the air crackled with pettiness. The war spilled into daily life. Erin scoffed when Tom's hand neared her bottles, muttering, "Don't defile the vibe." Tom shot back, "Vibe. My Fuji Spring's vibing just fine." Their jabs grew sharp. At dinner, Erin snapped, "You've turned hygiene into a pissing contest." Tom leaned in, voice tight, "You started it with your soap hierarchy." Erin, "Yes, over me." Hurt flashed in her eyes, but she didn't yield. They still shared chores, beds, but each hand wash was a power play, their love buried under layers of stubborn pride. Guests, still none. Tom, half joking, invited his friend Dave over, nudging him to wash his hands. "Try the cedarwood," he said, winking. Dave, confused, complied, while Erin rolled her eyes from the couch. "Really? Tom," she muttered. He shrugged, grinning, but the victory felt hollow. The soap sat, barely used, their scents clashing like their owners. Tom's $40 bottle mocked his budget. Erin's Italian wax-sealed relic taunted her practicality. Their home, once warm, felt like a stage for a feud neither could quit. The breaking point came after 2 days of near silence, their words clipped to pass the salt or laundry's done. Tom, in a fit of absurdity, grabbed a velvet clothrens from an old jewelry box and started polishing his bamboo soap bottle, wiping imaginary smudges with exaggerated care. Erin walked in, froze, then burst out laughing, a real, unguarded cackle. "Are you buffing your soap?" she gasped, clutching her side. Tom, caught, chuckled, then laughed harder, the cloth dropping. "Yeah, well, Fuji deserves respect," he said, tears in his eyes. The laughter broke the dam. They collapsed on the couch, giggling like kids, the sink soap arsenal looming absurdly. "We're idiots," Erin said, wiping her eyes. "I just wanted something nice, you know. Not this." Tom nodded. "Softer now. I get it. But it felt like you were building a home I wasn't part of." "The guest thing it hit me wrong," Erin sighed, squeezing his hand. "I didn't mean that. I guess I got carried away, making things perfect." "I'm sorry." Tom met her eyes. "Me too. Let's ditch the soap class system." "Yeah." They struck a truce, pulling their bottles and ordering a neutral soap $10. YT cent, no rules. The first shared pump felt like a vow renewed, their hands brushing under the water. The guest soap stayed, but as decor, not weapons. Their home warmed again, the rift not gone but healing. They'd fought over bubbles, but found their way back through laughter, learning that love thrives on inclusion, not competition. At 32, Tom realized marriage wasn't about winning, it was about choosing each other, even in silly spats. Aaron's flair, his pragmatism, could clash, but they'd talk it out now, not battle via Etsy. The sink, once a war zone, was just a sink again, and their Vermont life felt like theirs, shared and flawed. So, listener, thanks for sticking with me. Tom and Aaron's soap saga ended in laughter, but it exposed real cracks. Would you have fought back like Tom, or let the soap rule slide? When's a time a small fight revealed a bigger truth in your life? Share bellow when listening, and if you're caught in a petty spat, remember, love's about sharing the sink, not claiming it. Keep listening, life's full of moments that teach us what matters.